One of the quirks of working with computer models is you have to be really careful what you Google for work. Hello modelers, it's Flood Skinner here, aka Dr. Chris Skinner. Welcome to Model Life, and in this series I am lifting the lid on how we use computer models to model the environment. In a previous video I showed you that computer models don't need to be scary. They're simply a combination of two things. Some rules about how the world works and the ability of computers to do some sums really quickly. When we put them together, they help us recreate how the environment works and how processes happen, and do so much quicker than in real life, giving us the ability to see into the future. Well, sort of. Now this may seem a bit backwards, it is backwards, but in this video I'm going to take us to a step before we actually get to the computer models and show you what the whole idea is behind models and modelling anyway. It's bad pedagogy, but I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to start with a quote. The mathematician George Box is famously attributed as saying, "All models are wrong." This may sound odd and a little like he's peeing on his own strawberries, but he's absolutely right. Every model ever made is wrong, and that's because they were never meant to be right in the first place. The key bit we haven't come to yet is the second half of the quote, that all models are wrong, but some are useful. And this has become a bit of a modelling mantra over the years, and I can hear all the modelers who are watching this video now ticking off their George Box box on their modelling bingo cards. But it helps us understand that when we're working with models, we have to really stop asking how right they are, but instead ask how useful they are. Okay, let's take another big step back. What are models anyway? Now, one of the quirks of working with computer models is you have to be really careful what you Google for work. And that's because we use the word model to describe people with that particular job. A fashion model, a catalogue model, a catwalk model. You get the picture. The term model is also used to refer to figurines or toy soldiers like this one. "Behold the potentate of fury of Legio Arcadia, destroyer of cities and ender of engines." But it can also mean the computer models I use in my work, and the multitudes of other types of models we use to recreate the real world in some form. On the face of it, they would appear to have nothing in common at all, other than that all these things just happen to be called models. But they do, and they're also all wrong, but they're also all useful in their own way and purpose. See, a model is a representation of something real, sometimes a direct imitation, but sometimes more abstract or conceptual. So a catwalk model wears newly designed clothes to represent how they look and how they move when worn by a person. This helps others make a judgment on whether to buy those clothes. Now, we all know that models have a kind of traditional figure, which is not representative of most people, especially those more portly amongst us. So the clothes don't really look like how they would on an average person. But the demonstration is enough to be useful for people to make that decision. My model Titan is a visual representation of a fictional 60-meter tall robot-like war machine from a tabletop game set in the far future that I play in my spare time. There are so many different types of models, it just gets confusing. Obviously this doesn't work as the stories say it does, and it's a scaled down to a really small size, which makes it completely wrong in its representation of its fictional reality. But by being smaller and not having crew and a real nuclear reactor, I can use it to play my tabletop games. So finally, the real world is incredibly complex, and there are lots of processes that we need to make rules for if we're going to make a computer model that is 100% right. Some of these processes act on very small scales, way below the level we can interact with humans, and likewise some are just much bigger. There are some that we don't really understand well enough to make detailed rules for, and there's bound to be some that we don't even know exist yet. And even if we did understand and know all those things, the complexity of it all would be such that even the most powerful computers that we have at the moment, or likely to have in the future, just won't have the power to process all those sums quickly enough to make them useful. So we simplify the rules we use in our computer models by averaging out these processes across both space and time. And this means we can make them run fast enough to get the answers in the time we need them. But it also means that what the model shows will undoubtedly be wrong, but right enough to provide us with enough information to help us make decisions. So models are there to be a representation of how something might be in reality, not necessarily a perfect reproduction. Often a perfect reproduction would not be useful at all. So, for example, architects don't build their building to show people what it will look like. They make a small scale model, as that's cheaper and makes it easier to alter the design before it gets built. So it's true to say that all models are wrong, but it's false and often in bad faith that people say that this is because they're useless and misleading. It is the very fact that they're wrong that makes them useful in the first place. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel below, and it would be super awesome that while you're down there you give this video a like as well. Until next time, stay dry out there.